Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making a keto funnel cake that's going to blow your mind. I don't know if you guys caught it, but last week I uploaded a video on how to make French fries that taste exactly like real fries, a keto version. For this recipe, we're going to use the same dough, however, we're going to modify it just slightly. That dough has some magical powers. And if you follow the method I have on my video, which makes them taste exactly like potato French fries, there's an extra special step I put in there. In the cooking method, I actually take them out of the cooking oil halfway through and I slice them again to make them extra thin. That is very important for this recipe because when you make them and you slice them and you put them in the oil, they're going to puff up and they're actually going to be a little bit more of like a dough-like consistency. So if you're making these as French fries, you want to definitely check out my French fry recipe and do the second cut that I have in the method there. Now that recipe originally came from a vegan keto YouTuber here on YouTube. She has a really cute story how she found this recipe. She was originally making noodles and she stumbled upon this dough that is super versatile. That is Heavenly Fan. You definitely should go check her channel out. I will also link the video to the keto French fries at the end of this. All right guys, so for this recipe, if you want to skip ahead, I do have channel chapters. So if you just want to jump straight ahead to the recipe so you can see how to make the dough, how to turn it into the funnel cake, you can do that. But if you're like, okay, I want to know a little bit more about this, I'm going to share with you guys a little bit of information so that you can perfect these and make them really, really good. First things first, I use the exact same dough, which is the two ingredients, coconut flour and xanthan gum. I think I'm pronouncing that correct this time around. Xanthan gum. Okay, so you're going to be making the dough that way. Now for this recipe, I added in some sweetener into the dough to make it slightly sweeter. Now, like I mentioned before, it's really important if you want these to be doughy that you follow it with the method that I'm about to show you in this video. If you make them super crispy, they might just come out a little bit more crispy and they might turn out tasting a little bit like French fries if you do it that way. But when you do it a little bit thicker, a lot of you guys had mentioned in the comments that you're turning these into like sweeter treats, and that's so cool. So I was like, I need to try that for myself, and that's how I stumbled upon doing it like this. Now for this recipe, I am mixing the dough with a little bit of monk fruit sweetener. It's like a granular sweetener replacement, and so I'm doing that along with adding in some cinnamon just for taste. You can make this without doing that, okay? So if you're like, all right, well, I wanna make this funnel cake, but I only have the ingredients to make the fries. Well, make the dough the way you make the fries, fry it up, add the sweetener to the top of this. I'm using like the flavored maple syrup for keto. You can also add confection sugar like I did with mine on this. I did that along with the maple syrup, or you can just mix up some of the sugar with the cinnamon. So that's a really good way to do it as well. So there's different ways for you to do that to top them off. I think you guys are gonna find this will be a great option for you if you're someone who's looking for dessert, looking for a change, or looking for something different. So I will see you right back here at the end of this video to give these a try and see how they taste. First, we're going to start with our flour. Now you can make this with almond flour if you prefer, but it's going to be different measurements. So for this recipe, we're going to use coconut flour, xanthan gum. This is the original dough. So we're going to mix this up together, and here's where we add the slightly different ingredients to make this a little bit sweeter. Now this is optional, like I mentioned before. You can make this with just the two ingredients and it will come out great. But if you do want to make it just a little bit sweeter, feel free to add in the cinnamon and a little bit of the granulated sugar. Now you want to make sure it's keto friendly, whichever one you choose, and mix this up. So for this recipe, I'm using monk fruit because it's my preferred method that I like. And then we're gonna add 7 to 8 tablespoons of hot water. Now it's really important that the water is hot, and combine this all together. Now once you really get this dough combined, you wanna make sure you thoroughly mix it up, and then you can knead it into a ball. So you're going to get this combined really, really well, and then you're going to use your hands and you're going to knead it into a ball. Now make sure you combine this really well, because if you don't, it's not going to come out correct. So you definitely want to make sure you spend some time kneading this, and don't worry if it's a little bit sticky. That is normal. It's going to firm up as you let it cool. So I want you to let it cool all the way. You can even put it in the refrigerator if you want. And then this is where we're going to shape it a little bit. So I found it's really easy to just smooth it out so that you can get it to stretch out as much as you possibly can so that it's pretty thin. Like I mentioned before, it's going to puff up when you cook it and you want it to puff up. So these slices, do not cut them too thick though. Make sure you're cutting them nicely and thin enough, and they will stick together. It's going to be a little bit fragile as you move this over into the oil. However, make sure you're not going too thick because otherwise the interior will not cook. So that's really important. Just make sure you understand. You don't want them to be super thick. You want them to be nice and thin like this. Now, whatever oil you choose, I actually used coconut oil, and I recommend that oil actually for this as well as the French fries. You will not taste the coconut if you make the French fries with the coconut oil. I made it after I made them with the olive oil, like it's recommended in that video, because coconut oil is better for frying and it does work out. There's also some benefits to consuming coconut oil, so that's why I chose this. And with this being a sweeter dish, I wasn't really worried about it coming out and having a little bit of a coconut flavor, but like I mentioned before, it doesn't. So you're going to want to keep this on a medium to low heat. If you go too hot in the heat, you're going to cook the outside faster than the inside and it's going to burn. So it's going to take you a little bit longer to cook these because you want to get them nice and golden brown, but you also want them to cook through as they puff up. So it took me about, I think, 12 minutes frying these to get them to the perfect consistency. So you just want them bubbling up as they're cooking, and just give it a little bit more time than usual compared to if you're frying something the traditional way. You are probably going to be cooking it a little bit more quickly. So with this, just give it time. And then this step is important. I let it cool, and then I also removed some excess oil. And lastly, you want to top with a sweetener of choice. Now, I use the keto maple syrup over the top of mine, and then I added the powdered sugar, the keto powdered sugar. But like I mentioned before, you definitely could do like a cinnamon and keto sugar mixture and put it on top, because that's really good as well. I made that before also. All right, guys, we're trying out our funnel cake, keto funnel cake. Here it is. I have been on the hunt for some amazing recipes lately for keto, and like when I stumbled upon this after seeing Heavenly Fan's recipe to kind of do these different variations is like really kind of fun and cool. So let's see how this one tastes. So good. Like, I can guarantee you when I give these to my kids when they come home, they're gonna absolutely love it. Now here's the thing. I'm gonna give you guys a trick. Let these cool down, because when you cook them, you fry them, they're gonna absorb quite a bit of oil. And so if you feel like they're greasy, let them cool down. Definitely pat them off, and they're gonna come out really great, like really bread-like consistency. The sweetener in there definitely added to that. And like I mentioned before, when you cut these super thin and you slice them again throughout the frying process and put them back in the fryer, you can make French fries. So if you haven't seen that video yet, after this one, you definitely want to slide over to that video. I love this recipe, and I can't wait for you guys to give this a shot, give it a try. Pop it in the comments if you are gonna make these, or if you have a version of this dough that you've created since that keto French fry recipe. We would love to hear it in the comments. And if you are new to the ketogenic lifestyle, I have a playlist created especially for you with a step-by-step guide on how to follow keto, all the ins and outs and details you need to know. So if you're new here, be sure you hit that subscribe button and check out that playlist if you are just getting started on keto. And thanks so much for watching this one. I hope you guys enjoy this.